My daughter kicked me out because her husband didn't want to feed more mouths. 3 months later, I bought the building they live in and tripled their rent. She thought I was a piece of meat, but then she begged me for money. It happened on a Tuesday. The sky was low and gray, and the hallway in my daughter's building smelled like wet coats. I had a casserole covered in foil, still warm, heavy in my hands. I thought I would sit with my grandchildren, feed them, listen to their homework troubles, and then fold a basket of laundry. That is the kind of afternoon I imagined. Evan Carver opened the door with his shoulder and did not make room for me to come in. He looked at the casserole like it was an animal I had brought in from the street. He had big arms, the kind men get from lifting things and telling you about lifting things. His eyes were never warm to me. They were pale and flat like winter pond water. "We can't feed more mouths, Margaret," he said. He stood with his arms crossed. He had on that cap he always wore indoors, like the ceiling lights were too bright for his head. Behind him, in the little kitchen, my daughter Anna stood with a towel over her shoulder. She stared at the floor. She did not step forward. She did not reach for me. "Come now," I said. "I brought dinner." There's enough. I lifted the casserole so he could see the steam slipping out from the edges of the foil. "We need our space," he said. He said it slow and careful, like a guard telling you the park is closed. "And we need our food for the kids. We can't feed more mouths. Not extra, I repeated. It tasted like dust in my mouth. "I am not extra, Evan. I am her mother." He did not blink. He put 2 fingers on the foil, slid the casserole back toward me on the counter, and then, with those same 2 fingers, pushed my elbow toward the hallway. He did it so gentle, it made my neck hot. "Just for now," Anna said, but her voice was too small. It had the sound of someone repeating what they had been told. Then, trying to make a hard thing sound tidy, she added, still not looking at me, "It's like meat in the fridge, Mom, taking up space." "We have to be practical." She said the word meat, like it was a good reason. "I will come back tomorrow," I said, even though I knew in my bones I would not. Evan leaned against the doorframe. He smiled, but not in a kind way. "You are like meat in the fridge, Belle," he said. "You forget you bought it, it takes up space, and then it goes bad." I felt something move slow inside me, and then sit very still. I picked up the casserole. I picked up the bag of groceries I had brought. My fingers shook, but the rest of me did not. I looked at my daughter's face. She looked down. She chewed her lip. She did not look at me. When I stepped into the hallway with my coat and 2 bags, the door closed behind me with a soft click. That soft click was worse than a slam. I stood there with my mouth open and no air came in. Then air came in. I walked down the stairs, each step a line I never thought I would cross. The first night I slept on a cot at the church. It was the same church where I once taught the toddlers to sing and where I carried my husband's ashes out to the garden. The cot smelled like lemon cleaner and old wood. A woman with a kind face said, "It is just for a little while." She put her hand on my hand. I nodded. I lay on my back and stared at the high ceiling. It had those faint squares you only see when the lights are off. I remembered all the soups I made for Evan when he had the sniffles every December. I remembered driving him to a job interview because his car was acting up, and then standing in a parking lot in the heat, fanning my face with a magazine, waiting for him. I remembered the envelope I slipped into Anna's purse the year the twins were born. I wrote for diapers on a piece of paper and put it inside with the bills. "Do not tell him," I had written, because I knew he would say it made him feel small if he found out. I used to think I was helping both of them. I see now I was only keeping us all quieter. 3 months sounds short when you are young. It is not short when you are 68 and carrying 2 bags of clothes and looking for places to sit that are not coffee shop chairs. I learned where the church kept the extra blankets. I learned which corner of the fellowship hall stayed warm when a draft slipped under the double doors. I learned the names of the women who had keys and the hours when the cots came out and the hours when they had to be folded, stacked, and put away, like a life you made small and neat for other people to step around. Ruth from church came by the second week with a canvas bag that had shampoo, socks, and a little notebook. She pressed it into my hands and said, "Write down what is true." I opened to the first page and wrote, "I am not extra." I looked at the letters until they stopped swimming. Finding work at my age is like finding a needle in a drawer of spoons. People smile and say, "We will call you," and the phone stays quiet. But Mrs. Lundy at the bakery needed hands before dawn and hands that did not talk much. "You can be on rolls and coffee," she said, like she was handing me a small, steady boat. The bakery was warm and honest. The ovens made the air sweet. The floor had flour dust in the corners no matter how much you mopped. I liked that. It meant the place worked. Hands know what to do before the mind thinks too hard, and I was grateful for that. I rolled dough until my wrists ached. I learned to hear when a batch was ready by the sound it made when you thumped it. A deeper sound, not hollow, like a good loaf and a good decision feel in your chest. People say everything when there is a cup in their hand. They lean over the counter and let their news fall into the space between the coffee and the muffin case. The bakery gave me a seat close to the town's heartbeat. It gave me something else too, a rumor. It was a young man in a brown jacket who said it first. He liked 2 sugars, no cream, and he never looked up when he talked, as if his eyes would give away too much. He said the building on Birch Avenue, the one with the blue steps and a dented mailbox, was in trouble. "The owner's son wants out," he said to the counter, not to me. "Taxes piled up. Boiler is breathing dust. It is going to sell. Whoever grabs it is going to fix it and raise the rents. Mark my words." He poured sugar into his coffee like he was filling a hole. Birch Avenue was where Anna lived. I did not go to see it right away. I told myself I did not care. But I cared. I cared like you care for a tooth you keep tonguing even though it hurts. I walked by 2 days later at dusk. The blue steps needed paint. Someone had taped cardboard over a cracked pane in the front door. The light on the second floor flickered like a tired thought. I put my palm on the cool glass and felt nothing back. Ruth came in for a scone one morning and watched me as if I were a pot about to boil over. She has a short haircut and shoes she can run in. She worked at a desk for 30 years and knows how to fill out a form with her eyes closed. She sees things. "You look like a woman who wants to do something she thinks she cannot do," she said, breaking her scone in half with her thumbs. "I do," I said. "I want to stand in a place where I was told to leave and not leave." Ruth nodded, like she heard that kind of sentence every day. "Then we will stand there," she said. "And if it takes keys to stand there, we will get keys." I had some savings. My husband left me a little, and I kept it like I kept the good dishes, wrapped in paper behind other things. I had an old habit of not spending on myself. Those 2 things together make more than you think. Ruth took a pen from her pocket like a magician and drew boxes on a napkin. "You need a realtor who does not show off. You need a loan officer who knows what a boiler is. You need an inspector with a nose for lies." She ticked off the boxes with little square checks. It made the future look like a list, and I can do a list. I will not tell you much about the rooms with humming lights and men who like to say numbers twice. Those rooms are not the story, but I sat in them and I kept my shoulders square. A woman with a sharp bun at the bank asked, "Are you sure you want this responsibility at your age?" And I said, "Yes." She looked at my hands, at the callus on my finger from the bakery, and she stamped the paper. The inspector, a man with quiet hands, climbed into the crawl space and came back down with a smile like a secret. "Bones are good," he said. "Boiler needs love. I can give love." There was also the super, a man named Manny, who had a limp and a toolbox that had seen more apartments than I have seen birthdays. He met me in the lobby the day we closed and handed me a set of keys on a ring. "Congratulations, ma'am," he said. The keys were cold in my palm. They felt like small, honest tools. I stood in front of the mailboxes. The third one from the left had my daughter's last name on a peeling label. I did not touch it, I just looked. Here's what I did first. I fixed the lights on the stairs. I bought bulbs that made warm light instead of the hard kind that makes your skin look gray. I hired a man to check the boiler. He tapped and listened like it was a sleeping animal he did not want to wake wrong. I brought oil for the door that shrieked on the second floor. I replaced the pane of glass in the front door where someone had taped a sign over a crack. I had the hallway swept until the corners did not hold dust. I had the intercom checked and the names printed straight. I learned first names. I learned that the little boy with glasses in 2C on the second floor likes bugs. I learned that the woman in apartment 1A downstairs kept plastic on her couch because her mother did. I learned the day the trash should go out and who always forgets. I learned the way the building sighed when the heat came on and how long it took to warm the third floor. Simple things, practical things. I met the tenants. I told them every change I could afford. I did not talk about the rent right away. I watched. I listened. I did not walk past people. I stopped and I asked, and then I remembered what they said when I saw them again. Kindness is not expensive. It takes time. That is all. Then I raised some rents to what made sense for the building to live. A building cannot feed itself. It needs a little more than you want to give it. Most changes were small and slow, but there was one apartment that paid so little. It was almost a story, not a payment. It was paid in cash in an envelope with no name. It was paid late, more often than not. It was Corner, the third floor street corner unit where Anna and Evan lived. I did not write the notes myself. I asked the new manager, a calm woman named Salma, to write and deliver them. Salma is 30 and looks younger. She never raises her voice. She never puts a paper down crooked. She gives you a date and a number and a smile that says, she knows you are a person and not a problem. She slid the notice under Corner. She knocked 3 times. She walked away. Evan came into the office 2 days later with the paper crumpled in his fist. "This is a joke," he said, but his eyes were not laughing. He slammed the paper on the desk. "Triple? Triple? You cannot do this to a family." Salma folded her hands. "We are bringing the rent to market. The building needs work. Everyone is paying closer to that now." He leaned over her desk like he wanted to see his own reflection in her glasses. "We know the old owner." "He would never," Salma said, still quiet. "You do not know the owner anymore." He turned his head and saw me for the first time. I had been sitting on a chair in the back, sorting keys. He looked at me. He looked like he had swallowed something dry. "You," he said, "why are you here?" "I am learning my building," I said. My hands did not shake. I wore a sweater with strong buttons. I felt each button like a little soldier holding the line. "You will get another copy of the notice today." He pointed at me as if the air would carry his finger to my chest. "You cannot." Salma stood. She put her hand on the counter like she might set down a cake. "Mr. Carver," she said, "do not point at my boss." I had not asked her to call me that. She just did, and I liked it. He left with a grumble that pretended to be a laugh. He walked like he wanted the floor to know it should be sorry for him. He and Anna did not come down to talk together. Anna did not call me that day. Or that week. I saw her once, through the open door, when I did a walkthrough with the electrician. She was folding towels. She did not look up. I did not step inside. I did not need to. I was not extra anymore. I was the person in charge of the stair light on the second floor, and the lock on the front door, and the boiler that finally sounded like a cat, not a cough. The phone rang late 2 weeks later. It was Anna. Her voice sounded like a ribbon when it slides over the edge of a box. "Mom," she said, "can we talk? Just us?" We met at the bakery in the blue hour before dawn. I poured her a coffee and wrapped her hands around it because she was always cold in the mornings as a girl. That did not change. Some things never change. That is a comfort and a sorrow. "I am sorry," she said. "I am so sorry about that day." Tears pushed out of her eyes and sat there, heavy. "I said that awful thing. I said you were like meat, just to make the moment end. I thought if I said his words, he'd calm down. I was wrong." She swallowed. "We can't pay that number. Please, Mom, please. Can you lend me the money? Just for a month or 2, until he finds something. We need cash now." He kept saying team. Fine. I became the captain, the referee, and the owner. You wouldn't believe how desperate he would be later. But before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. He said I was like meat, I reminded her. The bakery was quiet, the ovens hummed, the dough rose under towels like small hills. She closed her eyes and nodded. I said it too. I hate that I did. I am asking you for money. I am begging. Help me cover it, and he'll fix it. Her fingers tightened around the cup. Please. I sat with her, with the coffee going cool between her hands. I could see the girl in her face. I could see the new lines, too. I chose my words like I was taking needles out of a dish, and I did not want to prick a finger. I will help, I said, but I will not put money into Evan's hands. Not $1. If I give him cash, he will stand on it and tell you it is his floor. She pressed her mouth into a line, then she let it go. What should I do? You should move to sunlight, I said. It is smaller. It is bright in the morning. It will be under your name. You will pay a price that you can keep up with, steady and honest. Pack the things you need. Leave the rest. Bring the children. If he refuses to come with you kindly, come without him. I will help carry boxes. I will help in the way a mother helps. She stared at me like my words were a flare in fog. He will be furious. He has been furious for years, I said. It did not make him kinder. It did not make him smarter. It did not make your life easier. He says we will never make it without him. That is his way to keep a hand on your shoulder, I said. He likes his hand there. It does not mean he is holding you up. You have strong legs. She did not answer. She breathed. She looked at her cup. She looked at my face. Give me 3 days, she said at last. Those 3 days were noisy. Evan banged the stair rail when he went down. He let the door slam behind him. He shouted at the mailboxes and called it a joke. One night, I found the porch light unscrewed and hanging. I brought my little step stool and screwed it back in. I did not sigh. I did not make a sound. I turned on the light and stood in it for a while. On the second day, I heard a crash from the 3rd floor. I climbed the steps and found a picture frame smashed in the hall and glass like ice on the floor. The picture inside was of Anna and the kids. It was a school photo. Evan stood in the doorway. He had anger in his teeth. Cheap frame, he said, and he kicked a shard. It skittered and made a sound like a small scream. A neighbor from 3A near the stairs stood behind her door with it open a crack. Children watched from their doorways like rabbits from burrows. Pick it up, I said to him. Right now. He turned to me. You are not my mother. I am your landlord, I said, and this is my hallway. For a second, I thought he would step toward me. He did not. He crouched, and he picked up the glass, and he cut his finger. A red drop fell on the rug. Look what you made me do, he said, and he laughed without humor. I did not make you do anything, I said. You chose. You have made many choices. He went back inside. I went to the supply closet and brought a broom and a dustpan. I swept. I did not move fast. I wanted the sound of the broom to be the only sound. It was. On the 3rd day before the sun, Anna came down the stairs with 2 cardboard boxes and a backpack. The twins came behind her carrying a stuffed bear and a bag of shoes. They were quiet. Children know when a day is a big day. They can feel a change in the air. I met them at the bottom and took 1 box. We walked together to sunlight. The small living room had morning light like clean water. The windows needed oil, but they opened. The kitchen was tidy with a little dent in the counter where some pan once landed wrong. It felt like a place where good news could visit and not feel out of place. We put the boxes on the floor. Anna stood with her hands on her hips, looking around like someone measuring a dress. The twins tried the window latches and laughed when the spring sang. I put on the kettle I had brought from my own small room. It had a dent on the side from my husband dropping it in 1989. I have kept that dent as long as I have kept everything else. He came 20 minutes later, stomping like a parade. He did not knock. He pushed the door and then remembered he was not welcome like that. He stood in the hall. He breathed like a bull. You are not doing this, he said. He said it to Anna, but he did not look at her. He looked at me. Get out of her head. It is her head, I said. It is hers to have. We are a family, he said. You do not break up a family. We have rights. You had a home, I said. You shut the door on me like a salesman and called me meat. You made my daughter choose you over herself that day. I am not breaking anything. I am giving her a door that she can close when she wants to and open when she wants to." He stepped close. He lowered his voice. "You think you won something," he said. You think buying these bricks makes you a queen." "I think it makes me a woman who owns a building," I said. "A building with a small apartment for her daughter and her grandchildren. A building with a light on the second floor that works now because I care if it works." His hands curled into fists. His jaw moved like it was grinding coffee. Anna stepped forward. Her voice shook, but it did not break. "I'm staying here," she said. "I'm paying it in my name. And, Evan, I shouldn't have said what I said to my mother. I won't say it again." She turned to me. "I'll make the payments if you can help me get started with the deposit and groceries. I'll pay you back. Please, money first, and I'll do the rest." He looked at her like he did not know her. Maybe he did not. He looked at me like he wanted me to take the word mother off my chest and hand it to him. "Leave the keys to corner on the table," I said. "We will take it from there." He laughed. "I am not leaving anything. I will send someone. You will hear from people." "Send whoever you like," I said. "They will still find my name on the door." He left with a sound that was part laugh, part cough, part something else. He banged the stair rail on the way down. The twins looked at the door for a long time after it closed, as if they were listening to see if it spoke again. We made tea. We ate bread with butter and honey. We sat on the floor because we did not have chairs yet. The sunlight moved across the rug and made a long, warm stripe. The twins took off their shoes and played with the box the kettle came in. Children are wise like that. They know joy when it is small. Evan tried to climb back up the hill of his life like it was made of gravel and he had bare feet. He sent flowers that smelled like the grocery store. He sent a message that said, "We can talk." He sent another that said, "You will be sorry." He sent one more that said, "No one will want you with 2 kids." He sent it to Anna, and then he called me a name he thought would make me cry. It did not. I kept moving. I checked the back door latch. I matched tenants to names. I bought a new doormat because it felt right. I carried a box of kitchen things up to sunlight. And when I set the plates in the cabinet, I saw they were my plates, the blue ones with the thin edge. I had given them to Anna when the twins were 3 because she said the white ones made the table look sad. I touched the blue edge. I did not say anything. I did not need to. On a Friday night, someone turned off the breaker in the basement and the hallway went dark. It was not an accident because you had to know which box and which switch and you had to want it. People came out of their apartments with candles. Children made their candles into games. Old women like me do not. I went down to the basement with my step stool and my small flashlight. The air was damp. The floor was gritty. I turned the breaker back on. The lights came back. The hallway sighed. I stood there for a long minute thinking how many small things a person must hold up so that the people they love do not fall. In the morning, there was a note shoved under the office door in large, messy letters. "This is not over," it said. "You think you can push me." I put the note in a drawer. I had a drawer for that now. I had a place to put ugly words. That is a privilege. The month turned. The rent for Sunlight came in on time. It was not much, but it was honest. I spent it on a man to fix the back steps so the wood would not splinter into anyone's foot. I spent it on a tray of muffins for the tenants on Saturday morning. People stood in the lobby with coffee from the corner store and ate with their fingers and said thank you. It felt like a family reunion without the arguments. A little girl from 2B took my hand and asked if the building was going to have a plant in the window. "Buildings like plants," she said, as if she had asked the building itself. I bought a plant. I named it in my head, but I did not tell anyone. It is good to keep a small secret that is only kind. Evan did not fade. Men like that do not go quiet right away. He had to thrash around a bit. He came back to corner once with papers he printed from a computer. He waved them like flags. "You cannot—" He started, and then he stopped when he saw Salma standing behind me. She does not say much, but when she stands like she is not moving until she is ready. "We have already spoken," Salma said. We will not speak with you again unless you are civil. Civility is such a simple door. All you have to do is open it. He never learned how. He tried the back way. He spoke to neighbors, told them I would throw out elderly tenants and raise rents until their children could not visit. He lied about me the way boys lie about a teacher they do not like. But neighbors talk to each other. And when lights stay on and steps stop splintering and hands carry muffins into lobbies, true words beat false ones like rain on a drum. The sound is steady. People believe the steady sound. One afternoon, he found me alone in the laundry room. He blocked the doorway. He wanted me to feel the door blocked. He smiled without teeth. "You're playing a long game," he said. "You think you are smart." "I think I am careful," I said. "Careful is not sneaky. It is just careful." He looked at the washing machine like he had never seen one. "You are old," he said. "Old people do not win. They just wait until the young give them pity." "I am not waiting," I said. "And I do not need pity. I am building a life the way a person builds a shelf. Straight and strong, that is all." He took a step closer then. It was a clumsy step. He wanted me to step back. I did not. I stood where I was. My heart did its quick dance in my chest. My hands did not show it. "Move," I said, and I said it low. "Move, or I will call the kind of men who do not ask you twice." He moved. He could not help himself. You think some men are brave until you realize they are only big. There was a cold snap in late November, the kind that makes your breath look like words you never said. The boiler complained like an old dog. I called the man with the quiet hands. He came with a bag and a thermos. He took off his cap and listened with his ear pressed close. Then he smiled and patted the side like you do a stubborn friend. "She will make it," he said, "but she wants you to know she is old." I know a thing or two about that. That night, I slept light, my ears tuned to the sound of heat moving through pipes. Around 2 in the morning, I put on my coat and walked the halls. I listened at doors for the whisper of warmth. I tucked notes under 2 that seemed too quiet. "Call me if it is cold. I will come." In the morning, 2C's mother knocked with a pie she had made from a recipe her aunt wrote on a postcard. The crust was not pretty, but it was honest. We ate it with our fingers over napkins. We laughed at nothing. We stood in a warm hallway with crumbs on our hands and felt like a town. The twins started coming down to my office after school. They did homework at the little table by the window. I kept pencils in a jar. I kept cookies in a tin. I kept my mouth shut unless they asked me a question. They asked a lot of questions about history and a few about why some people are mean. I answered what I could and said, "I do not know," when I did not. They grew into the new routine, like a plant into a bigger pot. Anna found a part-time job at the bakery. She is good with customers because she looks them in the eye and nods like she hears what they do not say. She and Mrs. Lundy got along. She smelled like sugar when the day was done, and she smiled more. She started to put money in an envelope. She wrote "saving" on it in big letters and put it in my desk. "You hold it," she said. "I am still learning how to hold on to things." At Christmas, I put a string of lights around the plant in the lobby. A boy from 1B drew stars on the glass with the kind of marker that wipes clean. The building felt like a place that meant to be kind. Evan sent a text to Anna that said, "I will bring the kids to see my sister." Anna wrote back, "We can meet at the library. 2 hours. We will be there." She did not ask me what I thought. She did not need to. That is how you know someone is getting strong again. They make a plan and do not wait for your permission. He was late to the library visit. He did not bring gifts. He asked Anna for grocery money in front of the children. She said no, and she said it like a person with a key in her hand. The twins came back with a stack of books and a tightness in their shoulders that eased when we made cocoa at my small room's stove. We sat on the floor and let the cocoa cool enough to drink. We did not talk about the visit. We talked about a book with a mouse in overalls who built a boat. We decided we liked that mouse. January came with the city inspector, not because of Evan, though he tried, but because I called and asked for one. I wanted a fresh set of eyes on everything. The inspector wore a scarf too big for his neck and took notes on a clipboard the old way. He pointed at a pipe in the basement and said, This will be a problem in a year. And I wrote 1 year fix pipe on a card and pinned it to the corkboard. He told me my exits were clear and my fire extinguishers were in the right places. He said, "Good work," and I stood a little straighter. Evan came to corner less and less. He said he was staying with a friend. He said he was staying with his cousin. He said a lot of things. What he did not do was pay. Salma sent notices with firm dates and clean lines. She spoke to me about court in a voice that was like a level on a shelf, steady and not tilted by fear. "If he does not cure, we file," she said. "The judge will look at our records." Judges like records, I like records too. They are a way to tell the truth once and not have to keep proving it. The court date came and he did not show. We sat on a hard bench under a clock that ticked too loud. A woman in a red scarf across from us braided her daughter's hair with fingers that moved like music. When they called our case, Salma stood and I stood beside her. The judge read, the judge nodded, the judge signed. It took 5 minutes for a 3-month storm to turn into paper. I was not happy. I was not sad. I was something quieter. Finished. The sheriff's office posted the notice the next morning. I watched the yellow paper curl a little in the cold. I felt my heart knock in my ribs, not from fear, but from the weight of closing a door that should have been closed long ago. He came at dusk that day, saw the paper, and laughed too loud. He punched the stairwell wall once with the side of his fist. Then he went inside. He was gone by morning. He left behind a broken mug and a drawer full of ketchup packets. He left a box of screws and a shirt with paint on it. He did not leave the keys. That was fine. Manny changed the lock in 6 quiet minutes. We cleaned corner together, Salma and I. We opened the windows and let the air take what it wanted. We found coins under the couch and a school paper with a B+ on it, tucked behind the radiator. We found a dent in the drywall by the door at shoulder height, the kind a fist makes when it finds a house stronger than it is. We patched it and painted. When we were done, I stood in the doorway and looked at the room, the way you look at a face after it has stopped frowning. It was not beautiful. It was honest. A month later, a nurse and her daughter moved into corner. They brought a lamp that made the room look like morning, even at night. The daughter taped a picture of a cow to the fridge. The nurse baked a tray of something with cinnamon in it and left a plate by my office door with a note that said, "For your kindness." I took one bite and sat down because the taste took the strength out of my legs in a good way. I am not extra. I am the person who knows where the fuses are and which window sticks when it rains. There was one more visit from Evan. He came with his mother. He thought she would soften me. He thought her eyes would make me give back something that was never his to take. "This is ridiculous," he said, putting his palms on the counter. "We are family. We should work things out without all this nonsense. You made my wife leave me. You poisoned her." His mother looked at me with eyes that were tired. "Please," she said, soft. "He is my son." "I know," I said. "I know. And I am sorry for your tired heart." "Just give him a chance," she said, like someone asking to borrow a cup of sugar. "I gave him many chances," I said. "He used them to teach my daughter to shrink." Anna stepped from the back room then. She had flour on her sleeve from the morning. She wiped it away like a person noticing she is still herself, even with dust on her. She walked to the counter. She stood next to me. "I am not poisoned," she said to Evan's mother. "I am fed. Those are different things." She turned to me, cheeks wet and steady. "And Mom, I'm sorry again for that meat remark. I won't speak about you like that ever again." His mother put her hand on his arm. He flinched away. "I am done with this," he said. "We are not paying. We are not moving. We are not doing one thing this woman says." Salma was already on the phone. She did not say who she was calling. "We had a plan for loud men who pretend they are storms. You deal with storms in simple steps. Close the windows, check the candles, wait, clean up, plant again." Evan leaned in. He lowered his voice. "You will end up alone," he said to me. "No," I said. "I will end up with my daughter and my grandchildren in a building that hums like a happy kettle. And even if I am alone one day, That is not losing. That is life. He stepped back like the words had a hand. He turned to Anna. You are nothing without me. She reached into her bag. She pulled out a little key on a ring. She put it on the counter and slid it toward him. Here, she said. This is the key to your old way of saying things. I do not need it. I will not be going back. He stared at the key. For a second, I saw panic in his face, like a boy who has dropped something in a river. Then he laughed too loud, and he left, dragging his mother by her silence. He tried one more trick the next week. He went to the school and told the office that the children were moving and to change the forms. He thought he could do it with his voice. But Anna had already gone herself the week before with her papers. She had already stood at that counter and said, "We live in the Sunlight apartment now." And she had smiled at the woman behind the glass and spelled her last name twice and nodded like she knew the routine. The woman had given the twins stickers. Small things, strong things. A new season came. The plant in the lobby unfurled a leaf so green it looked like an answer. The building's front steps got a coat of paint, not blue this time, but a warm gray that did not show every scuff. The mailboxes got labels printed straight. The second-floor bulb kept burning out until I paid a little extra for one that promised a long life and, for once, told the truth. On a Saturday, we had a small gathering in the lobby with paper cups and cookies. I put on a pot of coffee, and Anna brought scones from the bakery that did not need butter but tasted like they had a little anyway. People came and stood in small groups and said simple things that meant more than they looked like. How is your mother? Did your shift end early? Do you need an extra folding chair? Children colored on a roll of brown paper spread on the floor. Someone played a radio low with old songs that remembered our names. That afternoon, the boy from 2C showed me a beetle he found in the courtyard. He held it like a treasure. It is not scary, he said. It just looks like it is wearing armor. Some things are like that, I said. I will tell you a small thing that felt like a big one. A week before school let out, the twins came down with a poster board and nervous eyes. We have to do a project, they said both at once, about a community helper. They looked at me and then away like they did not want to say something wrong. I waited. They did not pick a firefighter. They did not pick a doctor. They drew a picture of a woman with a keyring and a step stool and a plant next to her. They wrote "Our grandmother" in letters that leaned a little. They wrote, "She fixes things, and she listens, and she makes muffins happen." I put my hand on the table because I thought my knees might forget to hold me up. I did not cry. I am not a faucet, but my eyes felt full. By summer, Evan was a rumor you only heard when a door was left open. He called less, he pushed his words harder when he did, like he wanted them to leave marks. They did not. Words only bruise if you let them. He showed up once with a bag of fast food toys and left them on the hallway floor outside Sunlight. The twins carried them inside, looked at them, shrugged, and used the bag to hold the recycling. It is funny what matters when a child is learning to feel safe again. It is never the toy. It is always the air. I took a morning to sit with Ruth at the church garden. We pulled weeds and did not talk much. When we stood, my back told me it was 68, and Ruth said, "We are two women who dragged a building back toward good." I laughed and wiped my hands on my jeans. I said, "We are two women who bought light bulbs." And she said, "Same thing." There were still hard days. The elevator man came to tell me we did not have an elevator, and I said I knew that. He laughed and said he went to the wrong building. I stood there with my list in my hand and felt silly and small for a minute. Salma took the list and pointed with her pen. "We fix this, then we rest," she said. It is good to have someone in your life who carries a pen like a compass. Sometimes at night, alone in my small room, I let myself remember the soft click of that door the day Evan closed me out, and the smaller click of my daughter's voice agreeing with him, calling me meat because it made the moment simpler. I let myself feel the heat in my neck when they named me like a cut on a shelf. I do not push those things away. I do not feed them either. I put them on a shelf inside me, next to other true things. The shelf is sturdy. It is not a place for pity, it is a place for facts. People will say this is revenge, maybe a little, but it is something else too. It is a mother standing where she was told she did not belong and setting a chair there and sitting down. It is a woman telling a man who thinks his voice is a weather report that the forecast is not his to make. It is a building with a plant in the window and a light that turns on because someone cared enough to buy a box of bulbs and carry a step stool. One afternoon in late August, I climbed the stairs to sunlight with a library book for the twins. I knocked. Anna opened the door with a smile I had not seen since she was 19. "You are just in time," she said. "We are making soup." It was my soup. She had asked me for the recipe and wrote it down in her round handwriting the way I had glued recipes into my book years ago. The pot bubbled cheerfully. She handed me a spoon. "Taste." It tasted like the winter we lived in the rental with the creaky pipes and the good light. It tasted like Sunday afternoons when the girls set the table and my husband fell asleep in his chair. It tasted like a life that was not fancy, but was steady, like a metronome on a piano you can play. The twins came in with their homework and chatter. They told me about a bug on the playground with a shiny back. Anna leaned on the counter and listened. She did not jump when the door in the hall closed. She did not flinch when someone ran down the stairs. She kept her shoulder loose instead of tight. That is something you can see if you know what to look for. We ate together with our spoons, making small clinks. We laughed at something small. We did not look at the door, as if it might open any second. We did not brace. Later, when the dishes were done and the twins had gone to wash up, Anna took an envelope from the shelf and handed it to me. "Can you look?" she said. "This is what I saved this month." I opened it. Inside was money. Not a fortune. A start. "We will put it in the drawer," I said. "It will wait for you there. It will grow like a plant in a window." She nodded. She looked at me with eyes that had water in them but did not spill. "Thank you for the second key," she said. "Thank you for the second chance. And for not giving Evan cash when I asked for it. I remember your soup. I put the envelope in my bag with care. I kissed her forehead like I did when she was small and had a fever. Her forehead was cool and sure. I touched the dent in my kettle sitting on her stove. I thought about the day the dent was made and how I could have thrown the kettle away and how I did not. We keep some dents. They remind us what not to drop again. On the first of the next month, I sat on the front stoop with a thermos and watched people go by. It was late afternoon. The sun made the bricks warm against my back. The boy with glasses rolled by on a scooter and waved. I waved back. The plant in the window moved its leaves toward the light. The boiler hummed its quiet hum like a cat that knows it is home. A woman walked past and said, "Nice building." "Yes," I said, "it is." I put my hand flat on the step and felt it sturdy under my palm. It is. I stayed there after she walked on, letting the sun soak my sleeves, watching the street make its ordinary sounds. A bus sighed and kept going. Someone laughed out of sight, and the laugh hopped along the brick like a pebble on water. Behind me, through the door, I could hear Salma sorting mail, the soft slap of envelopes on wood. Above me, a window clicked shut and a radio changed the station. Across the hall, a child dragged a chair lightly, getting ready to climb and reach, the way all children do. I thought about all the hands that had pushed me toward a hallway and all the hands that had pulled me back toward a table. I thought about extra mouths and full hearts and the price of a light bulb. I thought about the old boiler that asked for care and gave back heat. I thought about Anna sleeping on clean sheets bought with her own money, and the twins counting their coins, and the way Ruth draws boxes on a napkin and fills them in. Not everything is fair, not everything is kind, but some things can be made better with patience and a key ring. I did not set out to be the owner of anything but a dented kettle and a few good recipes. Still, here I am, counting steps as I climb, keeping a plant alive in a sunny window, fixing what I can, and letting the rest go. The world can think what it wants about revenge or victory. I do not have time to name it. There are floors to sweep and a second floor bulb to check and envelopes to open for people who are working late. There is soup to stir and homework to sign and a hallway to walk just once more before I sleep. When I stand and brush a little paint dust from my skirt, I feel the railing under my palm and know it is solid. I know what it cost to make it solid. I know what it would have cost to leave it loose. The day I was told I was extra, I was not. The day I was called meat, I was not. I was a woman with a list and a step stool and a way of staying that looks quiet until it has a key in it. And that is enough. Did I handle this the right way or did I overstep? Please leave your opinions in the comments.
My grandma told me this story. I have many more stories. Subscribe so you don't miss the most interesting things.